Hi everyone, Dr. Becca with Del Mar Center for Behavioral Health here, and I want to take a minute to talk about PRIDE skills. And that probably sounds sort of weird, but PRIDE is an acronym, and the PRIDE skills are some relationship enhancing skills. So there's some behaviors or skills that you can engage in as an adult when you're interacting with a child, and it can help pair, as we say in behavior analysis, or build rapport, like we say in psychology, or really just enhance and strengthen the relationship that you have with that kiddo. And we all know that we tend to work better for people that we have a relationship with. And the same is true for our kids. Strong relationships with adults are a really important part of a child's development. So the PRIDE skills are certainly not something made up by me. They come from PCIT, or Parent-Child Interaction Therapy, which is a evidence-based practice where there's a variety of different behavioral skills and techniques that are taught to a parent to help strengthen the relationship between that parent and child, which also tends to result in more pro-social behaviors or more desired behaviors by the kiddo. So again, today we're just going to talk about the PRIDE skills. So PRIDE stands for P, praise the appropriate behavior, R, which is reflect appropriate talk, I, imitate appropriate play, D, describe appropriate behaviors, and then E, enthusiasm. So we'll talk about each one more in depth. So for praising the appropriate behavior, this one often makes sense, and parents say, well, no, duh, Dr. Becca, of course I'm going to do that. But there's two different types of praise. There's labeled praise and unlabeled praise, and we get more bang for our buck with labeled praise. So an example of unlabeled praise is saying something like, good job. If I say that to you, you don't really know what exactly it is that I'm praising or what exactly it was you did that was good. But if I say, good job trying something new, or great job cleaning up your toys, you're very clear on what behavior it is that you did that was liked or desirable. So it lets the kiddo know what behaviors they're doing that you want to see more of. We also really like to be praised. It feels good. So that can help enhance the relationship as well as increasing self-esteem. And then as we go back to our basics of reinforcement, when we reinforce a behavior, we see that behavior more often. So that's P, praise appropriate behavior. R is reflect appropriate talk. And this is when you are sort of saying back to the child what they've said to you. Of course, we don't want to mimic or sort of mock, but we're doing this to let them know that we hear them and that we see them. It shows the child that you're accepting and hearing what they're saying and that you're present with them. It also can help improve a child's speech and language because you're modeling for them maybe a different or slightly different way, or maybe even a more correct way of what they're saying. You're not meaning to correct them. It's like paraphrasing. You're reflecting it back to them to check for your own understanding. It feels really good when we know that someone's listening to us. It also gives the child the opportunity to let you know that you haven't gotten it quite right. So if a child says something to me and I say, it sounds like you really wanted to do X, and they say, no, Dr. Beck, I really wanted Y. Then I can use that P behavior, that praising appropriate behaviors, and say, thank you for letting me know what you really meant. It's important to me to understand what you're thinking and feeling. And I appreciate you letting me know. Another way to reflect appropriate talk is to really say back to the child. So if he says, I was really mad today, and you can say, you were really mad, right? It lets the child know. And then he says, yes, I was really mad. And there's connection there. So P is praise appropriate behaviors, R is reflect appropriate talk, and I is imitate appropriate play. This again, you're letting the child lead the play. You're imitating what they're doing. So if he's driving a car, you're driving a car. If he is stirring a pot, you're stirring a pot. This is another way to connect with a child and let them know that you approve of what they're doing. And for some of our kids who have speech and language delays, this is a way of connecting with them that removes that speech and language that's actually an area of an impairment and may add a demand on the child. So if talking is hard and communication is hard, then connecting with them via language is actually a work period for them, not just an acceptance period. So it's also a way to show your child that what they're doing is good, that that's a good kind of play. And you can also do things just a little bit different. So maybe they're stirring with the spoon and maybe you're stirring with the fork. That might be just noticeable difference and is letting the child know that you're seeing what they're doing. It also can help increase imitation skills, and particularly for our early learners and our kids with ASD, this can be really important because we learn so much through imitating others around us, and that may not come as naturally for our kids with ASD. So again, a reminder, P is praise appropriate behaviors, R is reflect appropriate talk, I is imitate appropriate play, and we have two left. D is describe appropriate behavior. And this, I always say, it's like get out your inner Morgan Freeman and narrate what your kiddo is doing. Again, your child or your learner is in the lead. And so what you're doing is you're saying, let's say the child is driving a car. And I might say, you're driving the red truck around the house. Oh, and it looks like you stopped at the stop sign, right? So you're narrating what the child is doing. This shows your child or your learner that you're interested in what they're doing and that you're there with them. It can help teach concepts because maybe if you're working on language, you are modeling the use of that vocabulary and correct sentence structure. You're modeling speech. It also helps to organize your child's play because you're narrating it, you're creating the story. And so for our kids who may have a hard time putting sort of a story together from the play that they're doing, you're modeling how to do that and giving them language that can then start happening inside their own mind. And the last one is E, enthusiasm. And this is such an important one because it demonstrates again how interested you are in what your child is doing. It also models how to show appropriate excitement and enthusiasm, right? Some of our kids get really excited and they might shove another kid or take her toy, but that's not a great way to show enthusiasm and excitement. It also supports the positive statements that you're saying. So when I'm saying, way to go, right? That's very different than way to go. And so we want to be sure that not just the content of our language, but our facial expression, our tone, our body language, all of that also supports those positive statements to help enhance the relationship between us and our learner or our child. So again, this is a brief review of the PRIDE skills, which is a series of behaviors that come from PCIT or parent-child interaction therapy to help strengthen the relationship between an adult and a child. Quick reminder that PRIDE is an acronym and the P is praising appropriate behaviors, R is reflecting appropriate talk, I is imitate appropriate play, D is describe appropriate behavior, and E is enthusiasm. And I'm Dr. Becca. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.